When you think university, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably professors, students with backpacks, maybe a big old library, right? Of course. But that's not even half the story. That's just the part you're supposed to see. We're about to go behind the curtain and meet the massive, mostly invisible army of people who actually make a university work. Okay, first, let's just try to get a handle on the sheer scale of this. Globally, we estimate that the higher education sector employs somewhere between 30 and 40 million people. To put that in perspective, that's more than the entire population of Canada. It's a truly mind-boggling number. So that leads to a pretty obvious question, right? If they're not all professors standing in front of a lecture hall, who in the world are these tens of millions of people? What are they all doing? Well, let's find out. To really understand this, the best way to think about it is to picture a giant iceberg. You see the little tip sticking out of the water, but the truly massive part is hidden underneath. That's exactly what a university workforce is like. The real story is what's happening below the surface. And here it is. The faculty, the instructors, the people we see and interact with, they are that visible tip. But the huge majority of the staff, the people who keep the entire thing from just sinking into the ocean, are completely hidden from the view of the average student. And this isn't just a clever analogy. The numbers actually back it up. If you look at a lot of developed countries, the non-academic staff make up the majority of the employees, around 55%. Think about that for a second. The academics, the people you associate most with a university, are actually the minority on campus. So let's take a deep breath and dive below the water. It's time to explore that hidden 55%. We're about to meet the university's real engine room by looking at the most common jobs that keep these cities within cities running. You can basically sort all these jobs into three main buckets. You've got the faculty, the ones we know. Then there's the massive administrative layer that organizes everything. And finally, you have the campus support staff, the people who, and I mean this literally, keep the lights on. Let's start at the top. All right, first up, the tip of the iceberg, the faculty. Just in the United States, you're talking about almost 200,000 arts and humanities teachers, and nearly that many teaching health specialties. Then you add in over 126,000 teaching assistants. You start to get a sense of just how huge the teaching mission alone really is. Okay, now we're going below the surface. Behind every professor is this enormous support network. We're talking more than 133,000 administrators, deans, registrars, you name it, plus hundreds of thousands of clerks and assistants who are handling everything from your application to graduation to payroll. This is the organizational machine. And if you go even deeper, you find the people who make the campus a physical reality. A university is a small city. It needs cleaners, nurses for the health clinic, IT support to keep the Wi-Fi on, security guards, and people to run the cafeterias. These jobs are absolutely essential, but they are almost always invisible. All right, so now we have a pretty good idea of who is working on campus. But let's ask the next big question. What about the money? Who's making the most? Because if you want to know what an institution really values, well, just follow the money. So looking at the highest paying common jobs, a really clear pattern emerges almost immediately. At the very top of the list, health specialties teachers, think medical school professors, averaging over $137,000 a year in the US. And right behind them are the top administrators. The takeaway is pretty stark. Teaching medicine and running the institution are the jobs that bring home the biggest paychecks. But we need to hit pause here for a second. It is super important to remember that these are U.S. salary numbers, and they are not the global standard, not even close. What a university job pays can change drastically depending on where you are in the world. Just take a look at this. An average professor in the United States might pull in around $100,000. Their counterpart in Europe, doing the exact same job, often a lot less, sometimes as low as $60,000. That is a massive difference in pay. And this quote really drives the point home. The salary range in global higher ed is just enormous. You have professors at elite schools making well over $200,000, while someone in an entry-level teaching role in a lower-income country might be making less than a tenth of that. So after all this, what even is a university? It's so much more than just a place to learn. It really is a self-contained city. A complicated living ecosystem made up of thousands of people in hundreds of different roles, all working together. Some are in the spotlight, sure, but most are working hard behind the scenes. And that leaves us with a final, kind of provocative thought. The pay scale shows us that the highest financial value is placed on teaching highly specialized fields like medicine and on high-level administration. Meanwhile, some of the most essential services, the people providing food, the people providing security, are among the lowest paid. So, what does this hierarchy really tell us about what we value in education? It's definitely something worth thinking about.